wow, you could literally be Western States champion and the next day not be able to get out of bed. And that's just like, it's a scary place to be in, but it's also like really informative to know that there's athletes and people that are living with that.
A lot of people say I'm grateful to be alive, and they mean it, but they don't mean it in the same way that you've meant it.
Yeah.
We talked about your experience with reading Rob Krar's Instagram in some of the hardest points of your life. And for those who aren't familiar with Rob Krar, Google him, but also Western States winner, but more importantly, just like all around awesome human who has struggled with his experience around mental health and depression and quite a bit more, and been extremely open about it. And he's written about it, he's talked about it, and you've had a particularly poignant experience interacting with Rob's social posts in some of those moments. Do you want to share a little bit about that? I remember we were coming down from near Mosquito Pass, running down 2 or 2A or 3 or something like that, and you were just like, fuck, man, like, isn't it great we're alive? And we were having that conversation about like presence and gratitude and whatnot. I will always remember that specific spot near the bridge where we had that conversation as we were coming down, staring at the collegiate peaks or staring at Mount Elbert and Mount Massive, and just like this crazy spectacle that you get to see on a daily basis. But yeah, curious to hear more from your interactions with those social posts, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I think like as much as the social posts were important, 2 years ago I got to meet him in person and tell him, which was like pretty cool. But as much as there's this social post, there's this video, I think it's like 7 minutes long, called Depressions, that someone did on him. And it's just him running in the Grand Canyon and just speaking about his experience with depression. And I think like as I've gotten older and as I've like lived with it, I still live with it, I just don't talk about it as much. I didn't realize that it comes out of nowhere when life is good sometimes. And I think that was probably the most important part for like getting to know Rob, both in person and through his articles and videos and social posts. And like, wow, you could literally be Western States champion and the next day not be able to get out of bed. And that's just like, it's a scary place to be in, but it's also like really informative to know that there's athletes and people that are living with that. At the time, I wasn't a professional runner and I was looking up to him, and it was like, oh, like his life isn't perfect either. And I think like that's kind of the biggest takeaway from all of it is like, I'm living my dream, but there are still some days that are really hard to get out of bed, really hard to get out for a run. And once I like acknowledge that, those periods of my life last moments instead of months or years, which is I think like one of the things that we talked about on that day was like, hey, like these periods I go through now, sometimes they're 24 hours or 72 hours. Like the DSM, whatever number they're on now, wouldn't even classify it as depression, even though I know that those feelings aren't sadness, right? I mean, I experienced it a lot in the last like 9 months, like DNF after DNF after DNF. It's like eventually, like whether you're tying your self-worth to it or not, there's some days where it's just like, I don't know, do I deserve this life? Is it even worth being here? And like it passes, but like I still have those thoughts. I just don't share them as much as I used to. Like it's hard for a lot of the people in my life to hear that. Yeah, I mean, I shut it down again, which is probably not the best thing.
Hearing that and then hearing your interactions with Rob, both in person and through just observing what he said, I just think about the impact of speaking and the impact of sharing the story. And it's your life. You get to share what you want or not share what you want. And I just always come back to like how it's like the ripple effect. One small action. There's a Jewish proverb. It was started to be said around the Holocaust, like save one life, save a world entire. Like one life is an entire world. And if one person is able to have an impact on one person, that's an entire world. And so like I've had a lot of conversations with Rob, maybe not as in depth as he's had with some people, but like I went to his camp and I got to know him pretty well. We worked together through Inside Tracker and GOO. And it's just like cool how much he cares. Like there aren't enough people that give a shit in the world.
I mean, he put me in the same room as Drew Petrowski. I can't say his last name, Petrowski. Me, like last year, he's just like, come over for dinner. I think you need to meet Drew. And now Drew has become a really good friend of mine, was in the Silverthorn. And because 3 guys decided that it was worth opening up about mental health, we ended up in the same room together, like sharing dinner and sharing laughs. And we didn't get super deep into it, but like just knowing that, like, I don't know if it's like brotherhood, connection, whatever you want to call it, was just like I still feel that like one evening.
Yeah.
Almost every day since that one evening.
That's cool. I had a chat with Yuri Oswald, the athlete manager from GU, and we were talking about like how he picks athletes and how he signs athletes and who he signs. It's like talent is interesting, but interesting is more interesting. Those aren't his words. It's just like a summary of, it's like, it's not about podiums and cougars and all that stuff. It's like you have to have worth outside of, you have to be doing something. Maybe you're a coach, maybe there's something else out there. And the story of people who share their story, or the influence of people who share their story, when it goes beyond just like, look at this dope sunrise and check out these sick mountains this peak that I just bagged, like that's what he means, like people who are contributing. So it was interesting to hear that you've decided to share less because of the people in your life that maybe it's hard to hear, or maybe not. Do you enjoy the feedback loop of people telling you that, thank you, this is helping me? I've dealt with depression in the past as well, and we all deal with other things as well. And for me, it's like the feelings of not being alone. And it's like, I'm not the only person that feels this way. I'm not the only person that can feel this way. And I really appreciate seeing that from you, from Rob, from other people, regardless of what the actual challenge is. But it's that relatability piece that, for me, that's what I enjoy seeing. Is it hard to get those messages? Is it, because like I've talked
it's a weight.
Yeah.
I think it was a really important time to share what I shared when I shared it. And now it's like, I don't know if I can handle reading those messages every day because I'm dealing with my demons.
Yeah.
Like if I actually like wrote down every thought that went through my head on a weekly basis, like I think people would put me in a hospital. I deal with a lot of my own negative thoughts and insecurities and like questions of self-worth and stuff, and imposter syndrome as well.
The imposter syndrome is tough.
Yeah.
And it's one of the surprises from doing this. I've done like 400 episodes of this podcast. I have imposter syndrome about being a podcast host, and like I quit my job to pursue podcasting and other things. Like sometimes I'm like, is this all just going to fall apart at some point? Like, what the hell am I doing, kind of a thing. But the point I was making is the most surprising piece of so many of these conversations is how pervasive imposter syndrome is. From Olympic athletes, from Olympic medalists. And like, I don't know.
It's what makes us good. Like, not that I'm putting myself in the same category as Olympic athletes, but like
a desire for more.
Yeah. Like, I think that's sometimes what gets us out of training sessions. There's always this, like, you see it a lot these days on like Instagram and TikTok and stuff, where it's like they talk about motivation and discipline, right? And discipline, I think that voice in our head is the discipline, because I've seen it too. Like, I've surrounded myself with so many athletes that are world champions or almost world champions and Olympians, and they never feel as though they're good enough or doing enough training, which is mind-boggling for most endurance
30
athletes.
Hours, 30-hour weeks. I gotta do more.
But I think that's also that like loose screw, whatever you want to call it, is what makes them so good. Because if you never think you're good enough, how good are you going to get?
Right. Yeah, right. It's this hedonic treadmill of, and it's the same thing like financially. I think about it in the business world of like people who have been quote unquote successful, conventionally successful. Many of them could just stop working.
But they don't want to.
And so it's like, did the trait that got you to a place where technically you don't need to work anymore, is that the same mindset and skill set that makes you totally unable to take your foot off the gas? I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge part of it.
Yeah. Like, I'm extremely driven, and I think that's just like what sets me apart from a lot of people.
What do you think would happen if you won Leadville?
I think I'd be able to move on to the next big thing.
Do you really?
I hope so. I'm a little worried about like the, what do they call it? Like Olympic blues or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I moved my entire life here for it. So it is a little scary.
I spoke with Gwen Jorgensen about winning an Olympic medal, which happened to be a gold medal. And it was less about like, what was it like to cross the finish line? And it was more about like what happened next. And her what happened next was she wasn't afraid of failure. She was afraid of success for the same reason. She dedicated her entire life to one pursuit and then she did it. Then what? And it's really interesting. We're now 9 years later and she's still chasing, but she's enjoying it more. And she, like, her family is involved and she's storytelling in ways that she didn't the first time around. And I haven't talked with her in depth about it in a while, but like a year ago when we went on a run, she was getting her ass kicked in like local Boulder triathlons. And I was like, Gwen, and I mean this like quite respectfully, like you're an Olympic gold medalist and you're like coming in 5th at the local reservoir. How does that make you feel? And I didn't say it to be a dick. I said it because like we're friends and I felt like I could ask a tough question. To her, it was not about winning the race or coming in 5th or whatever. It was like, can she continue to show up as the best version of herself? And can she keep doing that? And then can she inspire others to do it? And can she inspire her kids to, and like this path of, well, you can only control what you can control. And effort is the main thing that can be controlled, or attitude or mindset or mentality. And it's just like, this is why I host this podcast, because I'm so fascinated, like what's going on in your head and what's going on in her head and how you can dedicate so much energy to one thing. And what can I learn from it? What can the thousands of people listening learn from that and apply it to their lives? Because the story you're telling is one of the most relatable stories of 400 episodes that I've done, which is why I've been like nervous to have this conversation with you, because of, I don't say the magnitude, but like the opportunity of your story is unfortunately, I suppose, like seriously relatable, and relatable to me. Like I've not to the same extent, but
You just did it.
What?
You just bet on yourself. Like I literally have it tattooed on my quad, but like you're all in on podcasting now.
Yeah.
And like the projects that you've been dreaming of for years.
Yeah.
How long have you been thinking about that?
Yeah, years. Yeah, good. That's a good point.
Right? And maybe that's why it took this long to do it, because it's even more relatable for you now, because you're in it.
Yeah.
Like you're throwing the Hail Mary right now.
Yeah, I love that. And it took me years, like years to get to that point. And it took seeing a lot of people jumping off the deep end.
Like I quit my job 11 months before I had a pro contract. Most people don't know that.
Yeah.
They thought I just like one like fell on my lap.
Yeah.
I was like begging Merrill USA through Merrill Canada to sign me so that I could even like come down here and train. Like it took me like continuing to show up for myself, continuing to ask for what I wanted out of the world for things to start lining up. Like nothing in my entire life has fallen in my lap, including like how fit I am right now and have gotten over the years. Like I've put in so much hard work to get here. And it's like, yeah, my mom's been 4th at Kona in her age group for Ironman World Champs. My dad's a very gifted athlete as well. Like those genetics definitely play a role, but there's like a work ethic that I have.
Yeah, you got to do something with it.
Yeah. And that's also how I get the contracts.
Tenacity.
Yeah. Perseverance.
Yeah.